Today I want to talk about armatures. Now we've done mechanical armatures where we used wire and tape to create a support system for the flowers, and that's all an armature is. It supports the products that you put into it to the design style that you want. I want to create today a decorative armature, and this is a support system that you can allow to show because it's usually done out of decorative materials. The materials that I'm going to use today is Rustic wire. This is the Smithers Oasis product. It can show because it's intended to be something that can be shown. Whether if it was wire, like just regular florist wire or tape or something on that order, you definitely want to cover that up. But with this armature, what I want to do is create a cascade design. And a cascade design generally comes out of the container and down. We often see this particular design done in wedding work, in bridal bouquets. So we have a cascading bridal bouquet that comes out of your hand tied or comes out of a bridal bouquet holder and down the front of a dress, creating this beautiful line movement with that. And a downward movement or inverted design that this creates is a very architectural looking design, but it's also the concept of line design to me is just very interesting and fascinating because I love the movement that lines create. With this cascade design, though, we are going to have radial insertions, meaning they're all going to come from that center point, but the line moves outward through that binding point. There's minimal layering and sheltering of techniques and materials that gives us interest throughout the design, and it just has these beautiful descending lines. Along with this, we're going to add tension. Tension is a secondary principle, and with this, tension creates, I guess maybe we want to call that sense of energy. It's that contrast of movement. It's making products do something that maybe they don't generally like to do, and it gives us that sense of that motion that's coming through the design. We're going to start with this rustic wire, and what you want to do, I've got a very tall base that we're going to be using, but you want to make sure that the length of your bind wire is 3 times the length of your container, so that it'll come cascading out, creating that support, and then also come almost down to the table length of your table. So we'll start with 4 strands of bind wire. These aren't quite as long as I need, just because I need it fairly long and I wanted to keep it kind of short so I can show you the technique. But I want all my 4 strands all together. We're going to create a point, and this is the point that goes down into the vase. And I'm going to take one of those 4 and I'm just going to start wrapping it around just to bind those together. Take the 3rd one, wrap it around the 2nd one, and just keep doing this until I have a nice point on my design. Then I'm going to start with my 4, and as you can see, the wires get a little wild and crazy, so you want to make sure that there's not a lot of people around when you're doing this, so you don't end up stabbing somebody or poking somebody with the wire. But you want to kind of divide these up so that you've got your 4 strands individually. And I'm going to start, I'm going to use my 2 fingers because we're going to make basically that handmade chicken wire effect. I'm going to use my 2 fingers and just bind those together and always do 3 twists. 1, 2, 3, or as many as you want. That's the repetition that you want, is using those same twists. And we go the same direction with your bind wire. If I'm going to start with my right over left, I'm going to do that each and every time. So the right side goes over the left side and do 3 twists with that. This is going to get a little complicated if I'm going to continue getting caught in all my other armatures here. So 3 twists. There we go. And we start with our beginning. And then we just continue with what we've done before with that mechanical armature. Here we're doing it with the decorative material. Set you to the side so you don't fall off, which you already did. That's okay, we'll get it in a second. And wrap it around. It's probably going to be easier that way anyway. So 2 sides and then the center. And then you can manipulate these to be very similar in size, but you want to try to keep that uniformity. So we're just going to keep going with this. Wrapping it right over left 3 times and just trying to keep that wire controlled. So keep going and you keep going. And what you're going to end up with, grab this real quick. I'm going to get rid of this one. Is you're going to build this chicken wire looking framework. And you're just going to continue that down. And what happens with this is that this is going to go down into our vase, as you can see, and this will set on the top, and the rest of this will cascade down over the side. What I want to show you is how we create this top, because I want to create something that's going to support the very top of my flower base. So we're going to give it a little bit more sustenance up there. So we're going to take our outlying bind wire and we're going to just bring it back through. So I'm going to go about 2 spaces back and just pull that through and just create just a little bit of a loop here. Come back through this center and come down and then bind this again. So it just gives me a little bit of support through the top of this structure that we're going to use to set on top of that base. Do the same thing, come back 2 spaces, pull it through, give me a little bit of support there, work it down through, and then bind this again. And just continue all the way down till I come to a point again. So I've got my 2 together, binding this, 1, 2, 3, all the way down, again, from side to side. Just keep doing those 3 twists all the way till we get to that very end. And what you're going to end up with is an elliptical structure that looks like this. As you can see, if I extend it out, you can see that it just goes from one point to the other. The ending of it, again, is just like at the very beginning. You just twist, 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 come out to that very point. But you can see we have that substantial gathering at the one point. And so if this goes into our design, this sets right on the edge of our vase. I can expand that along, and it gives me this structure that I'm able then to create this cascading design through. And as you can see, this gives me that opportunity. And again, it's decorative, so I can let it show, but I can weave materials through this. As I set this aside, let me show you a design that I've done using this structure and just some binding materials that you can see. So our focal point is created at the very top with these beautiful gardenia branches that are tucked right into this. And then our foliages with jasmine and all different types of varieties of Hoyas and different things, spider plant even, are woven down through and just interweaving within that armature structure that we created. This creates that tension. Sometimes the materials don't want to do what we want them to do, but they can just by letting us then use our armature structure that we created to support all of that. Again, volume at the top, beautiful influx of beautiful products and textures all the way down. But what we're able to do then is to create this beautiful cascade of materials then, creating that line movement coming down through. The difference of different textures and varieties of materials gives us interest throughout the design. That tension that's created just by making that line movement follow all the way down the design gives us a beautiful cascading design. Love this. I just think this is just really fun, especially with that influx of textures and varieties of materials all the way through.